Hello, everybody, and welcome to Girlfriend Quest. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Alexis Sarah, pronouns she, her, amazing lesbian, and I'm here to talk about Granblue Fantasy again. We're going to talk about the characters that I want in the game, and if you see me doing this, it's because I recorded like 10 minutes of footage, and then I didn't touch it long enough, and my phone decided to go to sleep mode, and that fucks up my video recording and instantly ends it. So, sorry for the feed. So we're going to talk about these characters really quick, and we're going to do that. And we're talking about who I want in the game. We're going to talk about 5 stars, classes, characters, crossovers, all that good stuff. So we're going to start with Orcus here. She's one of my favorite characters in the story. I definitely really love her. I find I think it's really sweet. This very noble leader trying her best. Girl out of time. She has kind of like a Captain America going on, which is kind of neat and fun because you don't see that with girl characters as much. And she has like a cool girlfriend, right, in the Black Knight, and an Orchid or like twin, or I don't know. It's weird and it's complicated and all this stuff's complicated, but I definitely like them, and I definitely love that she fought so hard for her and that they have this very nice relationship now. So I'd love to see her, and I'd love to see her have synergy. Her to be dark. She seems like she could be an earth character, a light character, but I'd like to see her be dark, even though I personally couldn't, I don't need more dark characters, but I think that, it's just going to be, I'd rather see her have synergy with the characters that she has relationships with in the story than, her be unthematically hanging out with, Dephila, and Lavidia in Earth, who, have nothing to do with her. I'd love to see a lot of other characters. So you're gonna see me just kind of go through and pop over in some of these things, and obviously not every character can happen, but these are just characters I think would be cool, things I think about them, and I think that they would be good, and they'd be good for plot wise, and they'd have interesting stories. Orchis could have really interesting ways of adding to what's happening in the Black Knight and Orchid storyline. I feel like you could do a whole storyline between their Fate episodes, intermingling. So yeah, Echidna. Echidna is someone that's a standout as soon as you come out. Maybe because of the mommy stuff. She makes any primal beast think of her as a mother, which is really, it's funny, and I'm sure people are horny for it or something. But regardless, I love Nagas. I love snake people. I think she has such an interesting design, because you don't normally see those holy kind of elements, the whites and the silken robes and stuff that are on her, and they ornate ornaments on a monster character, obviously a snake, especially because you have those Adam and Eve shits going on. So I find that very interesting and engaging, and I think that she would have a really, really fun play style based around her fucking ability to manipulate people, and I think she could be a light version of Rey, which is one of our new characters, some mind controlling effects and mind control buffs. I think that would be very interesting, and I think it'd be fun. And I think that it would be really cool if we got. Can you show it, please? That's the one thing about doing this. I would love. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about her first because I saw her first. So Asha, she's one of the newer characters, and I immediately fell in love with her design before I even knew. As soon as I found out this character was a girl for sure, I was like, oh, I really, really want her. Because we don't get a lot of butch lesbian type characters in Granblue, Black Knight. That's about it. Everyone else is more on the femme end. And I think she'd be super interesting. She'd be a great Earth character or dark. I think she'd be fine in any element, really, because you don't know too much about her. She could be fire gun. She has a gun, so I assume she'd have gun specialty. But yeah, I really love her, and I think one of the things about her design that really turned out to me is most Urins have side cutouts and stuff. She does not. I think that makes her really interesting, and I like that they just what they did with her design. So speaking of butch characters, Ares here, I really, really love like Aries' storyline. I normally kind of tune out in the story because I get bored. They do a lot of boring shit. Like season 2 of the story, I was so abysmally bored for most of it. But here I was so engaged. Like this very interesting. It was more akin to love, cowardly stuff. Right, like so, like Aries is like this primal beast that's in love with a human or something like that, and it's really cute. And they like go walk off together. But I love them. I love Aries and her girlfriend to like be a duo unit. Like they come back and they're like fighting together. I wouldn't like them to be separate units. I like them to be together. I like them to be water since they're based on Catalina, and that way they can be on the same team with Catalina. And obviously though, like water and light both are fitting because she's also her girlfriend's based on Vera. Like basically, right, giving her the same like kind of vibe as like a character like right. It kind of parallels that relationship, which means it kind of like helps make a more like an explicit queer parallel by showing like a queer relationship, showing their relationship, and being like, this is like you, but like you're doing what I'm doing, which is making a mistake, not talking about your feelings. So I thought that was really cool, and I'd love to see them like together and being cute and like interacting with Catalina and Vera, and like expanding Catalina and Vera's relationship through their fate episodes, while also like getting more into these characters and their past because they just seem really interesting. Like TBH, even outside of the game, it's like just cool warrior ladies. Like it sounds very fun and engaging. I think they'd be an amazing duo unit, and that they would be missing out on a massive opportunity not to put her into the game. I think that there's some characters that are like summons and stuff too that I'd love to see. I'm just gonna kind of tap on random things now. These aren't related. I'll click on a random letter. And we'll just kind of look around. But yeah, I think that I would really love for us to see like Zoe. Who, I mean, I could pull her up if you want to see her. She's in Z, so it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, here we go. She's like the very bottom of this list. Yeah, I'd love to see like her, like right. They kind of just like threw her away in the plot, and I think it would be fun to see her come back and see her like working on like what she wants out of herself, and I think that would be a very, very interesting storyline. And like again, I think she'd be another great one for Dark. It'd be fun if you could basically make a full Black Knight and Orcus clone team. We need just one more Black Knight clone maybe to go with Zoe. I don't know, but I think it would be fun, and I think she could be like a more like aggressive version of what we get from or like totally like defense negate, like destroys defenses, remove buff, debuff, like anti buff, stuff like that. That could be very, very, very interesting and a nice way to like show her like opposition to Orchid in the story. I'm just going down my list here. If we go to like F here, we're gonna see someone really quick. I think I saw them right in the first thing. Fenrir. I think that Fenrir would be great. Like she's not, she's in a lot of stories, she's in a lot of plot, and Cerberus is already playable. I have a friend that just really likes her, so I think that would be cool. And obviously she's water, and water needs more damage focused units. So I would really love to see that that happen. And so hopefully it will. I think that she's not unlikely. I just think that they're waiting for her to like be done with her part in the story, but they keep pushing it back, and I really would like to see her like come into her own, like join the crew, betray Loki, stuff like that. And then like also find out why she's so indebted to Loki and all and everything. I think that would be great. I'd love to see Gabriel and Michael turn playable. I think that they're, very fun. I love them together, and I love their characters and like the Seraph weapons lines and in What Makes the Sky Blue. I think that they're very, very fun characters that are like, engaging and have interesting like play styles already laid out by their summons and their apprentices that you could like take from those and then make a different kind of play style, but that's like additively like an add-on to their characters. So like Gabriel could be focused more on like gimmicky water stuff that like buffs that will go with like all of that. And I think that you could um, do all sorts of very interesting stuff. Doing all of that fun stuff. There's people in their pajamas. So, so I think that would be cool, and I definitely love to see that. Outside of those units, I'd love to see Aphrodite. I don't have her, so I can show her. But I'd really love to see Aphrodite added into the game, because like she's like one of those characters from Myth that don't get enough love despite like how many cool stories they're in. And I think like she could have an awesome playstyle based on charm and like also like exploiting certain weaknesses in characters. And people keep messaging. So, there's that. And so yeah, I'd really love to see that kind of stuff get addressed and happen. So yeah. I don't know. I think it would be really cool to see it happen, is all I'm saying. Uh, I didn't write her down in the list, but looking through it, just I would like to see Isabella. I like evil ladies. I'd love to see more evil ladies as playable in this game. I'd also like Freezy as a actual form, like not a form that's like based on a low and bro fantasy. So I love that too. And she'd be another great one for Dark and for like the thematic like Estrian Kingdom team. I definitely think that'd be interesting. And you could actually like maybe see Orchis' mom and focus on that kind of plot. I think that would be totally awesome. Um, okay, so other than that, I'd love to see like a non-swimsuit Hal Mal, Howell Malel. I'd love to see a Catalina and Vera duo unit. Like, we already have the SSR art for Vera and her fire promo that has them together. But I would really, really like to see that expanded. I'd like to see a something that like focuses, like I said, with the Aries on Catalina and Vera's relationship from Catalina's perspective, because right now we mostly just see it from Vera's perspective. But I really would like to like dive into like how does Catalina feel about Vera? Is it romantic? Is she romantic but clueless, or is she just clueless? Like, or does she know and she wants to do something but she feels like she can't do something, like that it would mess things up. I'd also love to see Yule and Soshi get another variant, which I know it would be maybe controversial since they have so many versions. But I really would like to see them like as a light unit paired up. I was really thinking that was going to happen, and in the like four instead of like in that last event. I'd like to see them, chilling out, being gay. And being like an awesome duo dancer team that has like really cool buffs for light. And I think Light could use that. I think it would be interesting. And other than that, in terms of like in universe stuff, sorry, people keep messaging me. I really should turn off Discord notifications when I do these things. So I'm really sorry. I will definitely do that in the future. Um, and we're gonna see. What am I looking for? Okay, it's gonna be here. One more person to look at, but I so like in terms of variants, I don't really care too much like for other characters I haven't mentioned already, but I would like to see Chef Cordelia and oh no, and Chef Bridget here. Like I love to see them as like a duo Valentine's unit. I really thought it was gonna happen. It was happening at the right time. I thought it would be a very fun duo FF unit. I thought that would be really fun and it'd be nice fan service. and people would really enjoy it. But apparently, they didn't think the same. They just released some whatever character, in my opinion. You know. So, yeah, I definitely love to see the chef variants. I think it would be fun. I think they could have a buff play style. That would be really, really interesting. So next Valentine's Day, which is technically in 2020, but because I'm making this after Valentine's Day, I think I can go to like next anniversary is, what I'm hoping. So yeah, let's talk about characters getting 5 stars. So I really think there's a couple of characters who could really use them that I think would be very interesting. I won't talk too much about them. I think Orchid could really use it. Black Knight already has her, so I think you could expand on that story that you got in the Black Knight. And you could see, like, more of, like, what they are up to during the True King saga here, unless they're going to intersect with the actual story. I'd really love to see her in action. And I especially like to see what's happening now that Lloyd is out of service. So I definitely love to see, like, a post-Lloyd Orchid, like, in this same, like, variant, but, like, 5-star, like, playing with that, or, like, get her getting a new puppet, because, right, her things aren't, like, called Lloyd, so I think it would be, right, like, it's open for changing. So I think that would be really cool, and I think it would be cool to expand on that story. And, so I think about a lot of this stuff from a story perspective, and, like what could be so engaging. And I think that Zoe could similarly be an awesome 5-star. Of course, she could be like a follow-up to the last event that we met Geo. And it was like the event we got Medusa. We could see like a 5-star, like what we saw for Zeta, where it's like a story uncapped 5-star for Zoe that eventually shows up in side stories so that everyone can access the 5-star eventually. So I would love that. But I just think she's a little weak. I think you could just totally fix the last wish. I think doesn't need a cool, a ready buy with that 12 fucking turn cooldown. She could use a 4 skill to focus on dodging. I think dodging should be her bread and butter. I think she is a huge fan favorite character for a reason. And I think that it'd be a waste for them to not, actually like capitalize on her main version, her light version. Obviously, I think her dark version could also use a buff, even though it's technically one of the strongest units in the game. But I feel like she's fairly weak. It's just that she has a very unique skill that makes her like uniquely poised to do a lot of damage because she can take everyone's HP to 1, and that's amazing for Amity. It makes Amity really possible. She can give herself jammed. So yeah. So there's a lot. Okay. Can we not? Getting talked about OCs now and stuff, so, I'm so sorry. I might have to scrap this video, but I've been recording for 18 minutes. I don't want to give up now, so just stick with me for a little bit, alright, everyone? I'm almost done. So that's pretty much everyone I want to see 5-stars. Like, I'd love to see Lucio and Io and Rosetta and Yggdrasil get them. Yggdrasil being the only other one that's not a Grant unit. And I don't really care if Io or Rosetta get it. I just like it to be over with. I'd love them to be done with the main story characters so that I don't have to think about them getting a 5-star anymore. And I can move on to like the more interesting characters getting them, because they said they're going to go, and I assume they're going to do it in order. So I like it to just get done this year, finish them all off so that I can be excited for the 5-stars from the grand pool. For them being like Light Vera. Light Vera could really use like a way to manage her Lumi bits and like get crest. I don't think it'll happen this year, but I'd love it to happen this year. She's like one of the earlier Flash Gal characters. So that'd be dope. So let's talk about classes just really quick, because there's 2 classes that don't have their EX2s yet. Everyone else is like at their max amount of upgrades. Dancer and Mechanic. And I'd really like to see Dancer and Mechanic get these upgrades. And what we see from the upgrades is that they're not necessarily like straight up like following the theme of the last one. They just kind of follow the spirit like the mechanical spirit of them. But I think that Mechanist could really build on the same idea with like the Sentai. We already have outfits for Sentai characters, the Cypher Rangers as they call them in this game. So I definitely think that you could go ahead and have them like pop in, and I think that it would work. It would work really well. Like you build like a big mech and you do posing for buffs, and I think that would really fit the play style of a character. Like the type, while also being a very fun thematic thing that people are asking for. People really want the Sentai versions. By the way, I'd love any Cypher Ranger, especially Cagliostro and Zoe's. Give them to me, please. And then a Dancer. I'd really love to get Dancer. Because I love dodging. I love the idea of sliding away from damage. I love the outfit. It's one of my favorite outfits, but I obviously it wouldn't keep that outfit. But the EX2 would be able to access it. And I think that like a seductress kind of class could really be interesting in so much that like it would have the ability to dodge, but maybe like also inflict charm. So like charming and dodge, and really just it's kind of like in Pokemon. There's this strategy that used to exist. I don't know if it's still viable, but when I played competitive Pokemon, you could paralyze a Pokemon and then try to make them flinch, like with Jirachi or something. And you would have this very high rate of them not being able to do anything because you were constantly stopping them from moving. And then when they didn't move, there was another factor, right? So you'd have to go through multiple checks just to attack. And I think against bosses, that would be really interesting, especially if they would ignore debuff resistance, ignore immunity, to actually make the class viable against things. Yeah, so those are the ones that I think like from here. I'm gonna just very quickly talk about crossover potential, since I've spent so much time on the video already, and we'll make like its own video maybe later. Just talking about just like what I think could be happening. I'm gonna try to go to like the side stories and just talk about it while I'm doing it. Wondering what I'm doing on screen. So I think Precure could finally use another event. I mostly just because I want a rerun of the first Precure event. I'm gonna be completely honest. I love Magical Girls, and I'm mad that I wasn't playing the game when it was happening. I wish it was in side stories so I could have the SSR Precures. I love them. I think they're really cute, and I think the characters are really cool. So I love the second one of that. They love their Idol games with Princess Connect and like from Idolmaster, and then Love Live. So I would really love to see Bang Dream from Bushiroad. I think the Bushiroad games are perfectly fit to turn into fantasy versions of themselves and turn into characters in this game. So I'd definitely love to see that, and I think it can happen. I think it has potential. In terms of Magical Girls, I think that we could really see like Sailor Moon. I would love to see Sailor Moon. Of course, it's not really relevant anymore, and I mean so like even less so than it used to be. Because like 2016 is when Sailor Moon Crystal ended in Japan, so there isn't a lot. Of course, we're still releasing Super S in America, and the game's gonna come out in America. So maybe having something that's popular in Japan still sells out makeup kits in one day in less than a couple hours would be like good for Granblue and be good for marketing for Sailor Moon. I think it'd be great, and I think it would be fantastic, and I'd love it. I'd love it. I'd also love Symphogear in terms of other Magical Girls. That gacha game came out in the West very recently, so I think Symphogear crossover would be awesome. It'd be totally cool, and I definitely think it would be fun. And in terms of like fantasy kind of settings, I love to see Fire Emblem Heroes. Fire Emblem Heroes did a crossover with fucking Dragalia Lost. I don't like Dragalia Lost at all. I think it's a really boring game, but I do love Granblue Fantasy, and I think, right, Cry Games already has a relationship with Intelligent Systems. I'd love to see like Anna Edelgard and Lucina or something come in as playable characters in a big Fire Emblem crossover event, and I'd love to see them like Granblue crossover into Fire Emblem Heroes, whether even if not as units, as maybe like outfits for these different characters, like having them represent different things from Granblue on a banner. I think that would be cool, and it would be a fun like way to encourage people to play the different gachas and these like other two, like my two favorite gacha games right now. So yeah, And then last one I'm gonna say for now is Digimon. I think the Digimon would be perfect. They're having a reboot. I would prefer if it wasn't based on um, the cast of the game, like fucking like I mean of the anime. They're like I don't really care about Tai and Matt and Sora and Mimi and stuff like that. But I think that they're popular characters, and that you could not have them playable while having them in the story and have cool like Digimon anyway, right? Like you have Matt and Tai have Omnimon, and Omnimon's the actual playable character, even if Matt and Tai are like in the cutscenes for their Fate episodes and stuff. And I think that right, and then you get because also like a Royal Knight and stuff for like I don't know. I'm a huge Digimon fan, and I think that Digimon's trying to resurge, so I think they would really benefit from that. And I'd love to see like Angelwoman, like right, because there's not a lot of other Digimon like Garurumon or Lilymon. I don't know how big they would be, but I'd love to see like Angelwoman also be playable like as a light unit. I think Omegamon would probably be like water and fire. Like I think it could be our first like in hybrid, or maybe like changes depending on your grid items, defaults to fire, but if you have only water items in your inventory, it becomes water. I don't know. I think that there's a lot that's viable potentially for them, and I think that Lady Devimon would be cool. I'm just thinking about season 1 Digimon. I would prefer if it was like based on Digimon Cyber Sleuth on the newer games that are more relevant to people like me. That actually got me really interested in the franchise and made me want to play them. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely love to see that. Um, yeah, and that's it. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What characters you want in the year? So I'll talk more about these crossovers later. I'll make a separate video. I thought I would do it in this video. I already made a thumbnail. I'm not going to change it. But yeah. So yeah, tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell and all that. Check out my Patreon. Bye bye.